The Underground Railroad was a network of people who helped those who were enslaved escape from the South and get to freedom, either in northern states where slavery was illegal or at least less legal, or all the way to Canada. This network grew and more people became active in it in the 1850s after the Fugitive Slave Act was passed in 1850, which made it legal for slave catchers to come into the northern states and capture people who they claimed were runaways, including many people who had never been enslaved.
It's not surprising that there's Underground Railroad activity in DuPage County because of the nature of the settlement of DuPage County is largely coming from New England and from upstate New York, which is full of a lot of reformers. And that's one of the things they're trying to end is slavery in the United States. So they're bringing that ideology and they're just transporting it here to Northern Illinois. You do have an area in DuPage County with those early settlers who are going to be more sympathetic to anti-slavery.
Chicago was the terminus of most Illinois Underground Railroad routes. And really the roads leading to Chicago looked almost like spokes in a wheel. And of course, it was en route to Chicago that freedom seekers came through DuPage County.
DuPage County was often a pathway that a lot of people would take to get from Southern Illinois into Chicago. It's not too far from the Illinois River. The DuPage River was also a body of water that people followed. And also, there were a lot of major roads that went through DuPage County.
As you're traveling through DuPage County, there are sites that are verifiable sites on the Underground Railroad. And those include Wheaton College, or what was originally called the Illinois Institute. The Illinois Institute is actually founded by John Cross, who is one of the leaders of the Underground Railroad.
The Thomas Filer House in Glen Ellen. But Filer's house had a tunnel from the barn to the house. And so if slave catchers came knocking on the door, if freedom seekers were hiding in the house, they could, scoot down through the tunnel and into the barn or vice versa.
And the Strong House in Naperville. The Philo Carpenter House in Warrenville, and the Sheldon Peck Homestead in Lombard, who was a portrait painter. He traveled all over Illinois, actually, with his portrait painting business. And he was an active abolitionist and a conductor on the Underground Railroad. And his home still stands today. Also, another conductor Sheldon Peck worked with was also a freedom seeker himself. This was an enslaved person named Old Charlie, who actually lived with Sheldon Peck in Lombard for a number of years before the Civil War. Old Charlie was all over Illinois, helping other freedom seekers on their way to freedom as well. His story is absolutely riveting and well worth a visit to the Sheldon Peck Homestead in Lombard.
We know that the Blodgett House in Downers Grove was a spot where Underground Railroad activity happened. The Blodgett family all took on different roles in operating their Underground Railroad station at their house. Israel, the father, he was in charge of transporting the enslaved people. Avis Blodgett, the mother, was in charge of kind of providing for them, giving them food and clothing, giving them a place to sleep.
And one time there was a slave catcher on a horse and had two enslaved Africans tethered behind his horse.
And so this man came up to the farm and he asked Avis Blodgett, "Can I have a drink of water?"
And she went and got water and brought it back. But she gave it to the men and told the slave catcher he was free and he could go get his own water.
Really, this incident kind of shows kind of her courage and kind of her conviction of that the idea that slavery was wrong and it should be abolished. Because the Underground Railroad was an illegal activity, there weren't a lot of records kept at all. And so what historians have to do to learn about Underground Railroad sites and places is to kind of go through what little evidence was left behind.
The Growing Mill is a site. John Coe, who is the local blacksmith used to bring freedom seekers to the Growie Mill.
Some other sites really need more exploration by historians to really verify their activity.
I think a person living in DuPage County now really would just have such a sense of place, it would just be so meaningful to know that as they go down Ogden Avenue or Lake Street, or catch the Metro train into Chicago, or hike along the DuPage River, they're retracing routes of the historic Underground Railroad.
It can sometimes feel like the systems that we're presented with, which can be obviously unjust, are inevitable. And it took the bravery of small groups of people who were tiny minorities at first, to come up against slavery and to start the fight that did eventually lead to its overthrow. So today, when we're confronted with systems of injustice that seem much bigger than us, I think it's really important to understand that small groups of people, individuals, standing up against those things that we find to be intolerable can make a difference, even if it's just one or two of us at first.